From timcast.com, SCOTUS strikes down New York State's proper cause gun control law. Justice Thomas says Second and 14th Amendments protect an individual's right to carry a handgun for self-defense outside the home. That's an amazing statement.
Yes.
And the reason I wanted to jump into this story too is we're getting into the gun control conversation. Yeah. One of the statements made by Alito was that the argument from the gun control side was that these laws are needed to prevent mass shootings. And he said, one of those happened in New York where you have this law. It did not do anything. That's the most frustrating thing to me, is that you get a lot of these gun control people argue for things that already exist. I had someone just send to me an article, and it was like, these laws could end gun violence. And it was like 4 things that are already in place. Banning assault rifles is like, did you Google this before you wrote it or shared it?
Right. Well, and that was the reason I even asked the congressman, is because you're literally seeing people on the left just accuse, if you're not pro gun control, that you just are cool with murder, instead of asking people with experience with firearms, hey, what do you, as someone who has more experience than me, who's never touched a gun, what do you actually think we should do?
Yeah, I tell you what, the laws are there. The laws are on the books. They just need to be enforced. You know, in Texas now we have constitutional carry, so you don't have to go out and get an LTC. You don't have to go out and get a license. It's a constitutional carry. So people are carrying guns. And I tell you what, the crime in Houston is out of control, and people are starting to carry more guns. You're seeing sales increasing guns, because if people can't count on their government to keep them safe. George Soros has gone out there, and all these DAs are in these offices now across our country, and they're leaving these criminals out. So these people, I think the American people are starting to carry more weapons because they say, I can't count on my government to keep me safe. I have to keep myself safe and my family. And I can't blame them, because it's out of control. Our cities are burning, gentlemen.
Now, is that working? Are the places with more people carrying, do they become safer because of that sort of fear tactic of I'll tell you this, when I finally moved to southern states, I certainly don't honk my horn as much when I'm cut off, because I'm like, I don't know what that guy's carrying.
I understand, and that's not the point. It's better to have it, not need it, not have it. But I'm just saying that criminals would have to kind of pause a little bit and take a second thing. Hey, am I going to pull a gun on that guy because he may have one?
Right. So let's talk a bit about this ruling. We can thank Brett Kavanaugh for for blocking constitutional carry nationwide.
Shocking.
He said basically that this does not impact the existing permitting rules in 43 states. That means if you're in a state that requires a permit for concealed carry, well, they did not touch that. Come on, Kavanaugh. You should have come out and been like, the government requiring permission for you to bear arms is an infringement upon your right to bear arms. However, he's of the opinion the government can not stop you from having it, but they can be forced to grant permission, which in my opinion makes no sense, because if they can deny you a permit for any reason, then government permission as a requirement infringes upon your rights. But this does mean that it's likely going to impact Maryland, New Jersey. Obviously it's New York, California, Hawaii, and the District of Columbia. So this means in all likelihood, these states will now have to actually give you a permit. It's already prohibitively restrictive in terms of what you need to do to apply for one. So while this is a good ruling, the problem is Maryland is not going to. So here's how it works. Maryland, New York, New Jersey, they say, okay, you filled the forms, you got the training. Why do you need the weapon? Mm-hmm. And this is what the Supreme Court struck down. You can't ask that. You can tell them, here's the requirements, and then you got to give them the permit. Because these states were just saying, why you need a legitimate reason for this. And no matter what you said, they went, nope. One of the plaintiffs said he needed a weapon because of a string of violent robberies in his area and he needed to protect himself. And they said, no. I'm like, what more could you ask for? If you're famous, if you're rich, some of these states will give them to you, but New Jersey, New York still don't, even if you're rich and famous.